25 Tea Party groups filed a suit today with the IRS, and the IRS just hired a very expensive lawyer to help defend itself against the charges. The suit was filed against Eric Holder, Lois Lerner, our Treasury Secretary, the former IRS Deputy Commissioner, and Holly Paz. She's the former acting manager in the Office of Rules and Agreements with the IRS. They are determined not to let this administration get away with such an unlawful and unconstitutional targeting of conservatives. Later, we're going to have 3 freedom activists on to tell us their stories and their experience with the IRS. But right now, I want to bring in Matt Kibbe, President and CEO of FreedomWorks, and Adam Brandon. He is the Executive Vice President of FreedomWorks, and both friends and, full disclosure, sponsors of the program. I wanted to bring you guys in because I am so afraid that we are going to look at yet another Fast and Furious. Mm-hmm. That's clear what happened there, but it didn't go anywhere. And Eric Holder didn't go anywhere, and their abuse is allowed to get worse. And with the IRS, the AP scandal, and Benghazi, if we don't stop this time, the abuse is going to be really horrible. Really horrible. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. But I think the difference, particularly with the IRS scandal, is that we have hundreds, if not more, victims. And there's paperwork, and there's email trails, and there's all sorts of things that are going to tell the story. So we can literally crowdsource the evidence and follow the food chain up through the administration, however high it goes. We just need to make sure that people, citizens that were targeted, are brave enough to tell their story and are given the support they need to tell that story.
I think that's really important and a good sign with the guys from Gibson Guitars. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew the guy from Gibson. I'm sure you guys did too. You knew who he was. You knew what was going on. Every time we reached out, they were like, please don't say anything.
Sure. Yeah.
Now they are coming out. Now he's coming out swinging. I mean, if you don't say something now, you don't. Right. It's going to get really bad.
When you look at the questions they're asking, I don't understand where they could even come up with these questions to be relevant.
Cass Sunstein.
It just seems like they're doing opposition research is what they're doing if you read these questions.
So the people who are coming out, have you seen people wanting to come out or fewer people wanting to come out?
Oh, I think it's like a snowball effect, and the first brave few that spoke up really took a risk, but there's strength in numbers. And when we brought a bunch of folks to D.C. a couple weeks ago, we were thinking that we were going to try to get them to testify before the Oversight Committee. And next week, Ways and Means is going to do a hearing, and we're trying to bring in folks for that. But I think the more voices speak up, you're just going to see more and more people come out of the woodwork because it's safer now in the spotlight. You can't be targeted if you're out there blowing the whistle on these guys.
Most people don't know who the good guys and bad guys are, though. I mean, Max Boxes came out and said, hey, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Mm-hmm. Max is on the record saying that you should target these groups. I mean, so who are the good guys and who are the bad guys?
Well, the good guys have to be us, and I mean, the victims need to own their own futures here and drive the narrative from the bottom up, because right now,
what does that mean?
It means talking to the press. It means telling your story. It means coming out and post the documents online so that no one can accuse you of lying, because it's all there in black and white.
In retrospect, I remember the last couple of years being on the phone and someone saying, I had this problem with the IRS, or you hear something here and something there, and I never dreamed that there'd be the scope and magnitude that's coming out right now. So I believe
I just never thought they'd get caught.
Yeah, well, we're just at the tip of the iceberg.
We are.
The more that the fact that Memorial Day is coming past, it almost seems like this story is starting to gain some energy and some traction.
So you have something up at the website that you're asking people to go to?
Yeah, so we set up a website called irstarget.com, and we're asking people to tell their stories, and we're sorting through those stories and making sure that reporters and committee staff and people that we think are going to tell the honest story, that they get their story out. And I think that's the one thing we can do, is just connect victims to people that want to hear that.
Okay. I'm looking at this, and we're going to talk about this in a minute. This is the Alabama Tea Party notice here. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a legal document like this before. Dear sir or madam, we need more information, blah, blah, blah. As the information you submit should be accompanied by the following declaration. Now, this is several pages, all these questions. It always says at the end, under perjury, under the penalty of perjury. But it says it here, under the penalties of perjury, I declare I've examined this information, including company documents, to the best of my knowledge, belief, information, counts, blah, blah, blah. Such facts are true, correct, and complete. They are immediately sending the signal, don't screw with us. You answer, and we're out to get you.
Right.
Right?
And what's ironic about this, why are these groups even going through all of this process? Because when they went to express their constitutional right for assembly and free speech, they were told, well, you need a permit, well, you need insurance, well, you need this and that. And they needed this type of legal recognition just so they can go out and do what they wanted to do, just to go out and petition the government. And this is the government's response to them following the letter to the law.
Declaration of Independence comes to mind. Tell me about the chart, because I asked you guys for a chart of who are the best people and who are the worst people, so we know who is a friend and foe. And I'd really like to get, on your site with the IRS, who the people are that are taking it personally, who really want to help, who are the guys who are going to just fight and fight and fight. And who are the guys like Bacchus that you just cannot trust, that are in that fight but warning?
Right.
So tell me how you came up with this list.
Well, I would tell you, you just glance at it and you see a lot of Tea Party candidates who won against the GOP establishment. They've been willing to challenge their own leadership, and to a greater or lesser extent, they are the authentic believers in freedom and constitutional values and all that stuff. You notice in the House side, you look at Hulskamp and Amash, and we're missing the other guy, but these are the guys that were kicked off of their committees of jurisdiction by John Boehner, so that by definition wins them.
Schweikert is missing.
David Schweikert is missing.
Who is the guy that got the standing ovation in the House the other day? I think he's from Pennsylvania, and he was talking
on the committee.
Yeah, on the committee. Kelly.
Yeah.
He's remarkable. He seems to be really taking it personally. But there's a lot of people in the House now that are new, and I'm not sure who they are yet.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, someone like Massey, one thing to point out about him, when he ran for election, he wasn't just fighting against the left and the progressives, he also had to fight the establishment on the conservative side. And I think you'll start seeing some common threads with all of these folks that's how they ended up getting into office.
So how is it we are, for instance, Ted Cruz and Mike Lee and Rand Paul, they are so clearly bucking the system. And they are so clearly, I guess, popular. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
I mean, really, at least in Texas, Ted Cruz is really popular.
Yeah.
How is it that the Marco Rubios can't really see that? I mean, I'm a little wishy-washy on Marco Rubio because I think he's a little wishy-washy. He seems to be, I don't know, it's like Jeff Flake. I don't know where these two guys are anymore. And not sure that, they feel like they're being pulled away.
Yeah.
How is it that, is it just entrenched power that, the John McCains of the world make them feel like, listen, kid, I've been around the block?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of peer pressure, particularly in the Senate, to play by the rules, and you have to respect your elder. And if you're talking to a Republican senator that's been there since before you were born, that intimidation sets in. I think it gets safer and safer with Lee, Cruz, and Paul doing what they're doing for more and more of our guys to come to the center, because a lot of these guys are followers, they're not leaders. And that's what's going on with this IRS thing right now. Every Republican is talking our talk right now. And that's an okay thing as long as you understand that they're not going to be on your side unless it's working for them at that moment.
Yeah, no, they all talked our talk too right after the election in 2008. And then it started up towards the election and they didn't talk our talk.
Right.
So, all right. What I really want to do today, we're going to bring in the Tea Party activists here in a second. But what I really want to do is I want to have you guys outline what you think the American people should do. Because if I'm sitting at home and I'm watching this Benghazi trial, I'm watching this, AP scandal, I'm watching the IRS, and I have a sinking feeling that there's nothing going to happen. Right. But I want to do something. But I also, We need to move as one. You know what I mean? Me going out to the IRS building myself and my 12 friends is not going to make as much difference
Right.
as if we can all get together. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and you guys lay out, some of the things that you guys think we should do.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that next.